Hi, it's Gilbert Nichols. I want to just come to you real fast and share a couple of secrets on how to get the best price for a used car. One of the best things that I would recommend is do your homework. I know that sounds like common sense, but sometimes I come to find out that the most uncommon thing there is today is common sense. And so I'd say do your homework, because thanks to the internet, we can do so much more to make sure that we get the right vehicle for us. I'm 7 feet tall, and being a 7 foot tall guy, having married a white Russian, I find that a lot of times what's good for me may not be good for the wife, and so you got to make those kind of decisions, make sure you're making the right choice. But doing your homework means going online, checking to see what other models are out there that compare to yours, and getting the prices. And if it's a good price but it's a long way away, then you have to consider those factors. Is it worth my time and effort to drive down there or drive to another place to see that car, if it's something that could save me $1,000 or $2,000 on the purchase? That's a big choice. Also, another thing you want to do besides doing your homework is preparation. Going out there and just looking at a car says, okay, well, that's a pretty car, nice color and everything. Matter of fact, that's my car. Believe it or not, nobody sits in the back seat, but the thing is, it looks good on the outside. But I couldn't really expect a lot from my car, because I really have used my car. I've done a lot of things in my car. I won't go into details what it all is, but it has a lot to do with work. And so with that being the case, you want to be able to know what to look for when you are buying a used car. Number one, of course, back in the old days, in my generation, when I was getting my first car, it was customary for the guys to turn on the car and open up the hood and listen to the engine and look and see if there's anything missing or moving that shouldn't be moving, or maybe is not doesn't look right. And today it's not usually the case. When my kids were looking for a car, a lot of times they don't listen to the engine, they listen to the sound system. Well, unfortunately, that's just not a good enough barometer to know whether you're making the right choice for a used car. You can't just see whether the radio is going to be any good for you, because that can always be replaced. But you don't want to be stuck on the road somewhere after having bought a car as is, and finding out that tires are bad, battery's bad, fluid is bad, dirty transmission fluid, whatever it could be. Something that could leave you high and dry at a time when you're not expecting that kind of expense. And a lot of people don't expect those kind of expenses. So it's good to do your homework and do your preparation. It's also good to get another opinion. See, that's something that a lot of people are afraid to do, because they feel like they're powerless to make those decisions. But you're in the driver's seat, so to speak, when it comes to making a decision that could make or break your relationship with the person that's selling that car. Sometimes we buy a car from a friend thinking, well, they would never do us wrong. But then you would not know that maybe that friend may have been, driving it rough, or not taking care of it properly. And because you know that as a good friend, you trust them. But unfortunately, things like this can really damage trust in a relationship when you come to find out you bought a car that wasn't well kept. And speaking of which, when you want to go, looking at a used car, I would highly recommend that you say, okay, show me your maintenance reports. Every driver should keep track of everything that's ever been done with a car, and that means oil changes, tune-ups, battery replacement, brakes, all types of issues, no matter how minor they are, because all of that plays a part. You don't want to come back later and say, hey, I didn't hear about this, or I didn't know about that, and it's already too late. Transaction's over, they spent the money, and you're left with a car that is in serious need of repair. So getting another opinion is a great idea, and I recommend not just any opinion. but getting a professional opinion from a mechanic that is certified to make the kinds of inspections necessary so that they can see. Not only, you don't want them to just look at the engine or just look at the tires or just look at things like what's under the hood, but you also want them to take a look at the frame. Make sure that the frame has not been reworked or patched together. You want to make sure that they check everything that moves on that car from the tires up, so that you are not left high and dry somewhere with a bad, with a bad functioning vehicle. So, getting another opinion is a great tip for everybody to pay attention to. If you can get a history on the car, that's great. We learned just recently that certain history providers, I won't mention the name of one, but usually is characterized by a little small animal, is not necessarily reliable for all the information you need about that car. You may have to go in and do some VIN, which is vehicle identification number checks, to see if maybe there might be a history to it as far as wrecks or whatever. Another tip I want to tell you about, something that you may or may not be aware of. When you go check out your car, let's say everything else looks good, and you get in the car and you turn on the radio. I suggest you turn on the radio, and not only listen to the radio station that's on there now, but check the sets, the FM radio and AM radios are set to, because that can play a factor in deciding whether that car has been run rough or responsible. And I say that because when it's on heavy rock and roll or something that, unfortunately, those play a factor when people typically that are not driving in a conservative manner, typically will play that kind of music that actually can be a damaging consideration when trying to sell the car, because if it's been run rough, if it's not been treated well, then those things can play a factor, and you don't want to be stuck with a bad car. Okay, lemons are good in lemonade; they're bad in your parking lot. So I would highly recommend that if you want to have a good used car that you didn't have to pay top dollar for, that still runs very well and lasts a long time and gives you great service, then I suggest you take a look at the blog that goes along with this video, and let me know. Get back to me and let me know what your experiences are. If you have a question I can't answer, I'll find somebody who will answer it. You got my word on it. And I hope that you will come back again next time. Maybe I'll have something more I can talk to you about. But for now, consider these as and my final tip I want to give you, okay? When you're talking to somebody who's got a used car, doesn't matter if it's a dealership or a private owner, say these words when you make your bid for that purchase. Is that your best price? Okay, let me say that again. Just say somebody said, okay, that car's worth $5,000. Okay, is that your best price? And if they think about it, they say, okay, if you take it right now, I'll knock $500 off. Is that a good enough answer for you to go ahead and make the transaction? Try it out. Let me know what you think. Have a great day. You absolutely deserve it.